Who is in charge in Africa? Without a doubt, the women are. They are the backbone of Africa. They educate the children. They stay behind when the men leave. They are the guardians of the heavy burden of tradition. If they rebelled, Africa would collapse. But let's not forget the leaders of the village, of the tribe, of the family. Ancestral figures over which the social life of the community gravitates. Above them, above the women and the leaders, modernity has installed a new power, the power of the state.
You have chosen me because I do not have children, and you believe that I will be a good queen. But the Spirit knows that this is not so. My mother has been possessed by the Spirit on many occasions, and I have been as well. He knows that I should not be queen. The Spirit has possessed us all at some point. He knows what should be done. It is true, but I am not in condition to fulfill this job. I am old, and my children have moved to Bissau. Who will help me? What is the point of being queen? No one obeys her anymore. The other queen did not die of old age, but of boredom. I don't want the same thing to happen to me. If I am chosen after all, things are going to change.
The Queen of Kanogo Island died 3 years ago. Following the primary process, which took place throughout the different villages of the island, 3 women have been chosen for the final selection process, which will last between 3 and 4 months. Today, they will announce these 3 candidates. The role of the Queen of the Bijagos Islands is crucial. There is a king who takes care of the issues of the men, and a queen who works with the women. But this queen is not the wife of the king. The role of the queen is an independent job. The women are the true political and social engines of the Bijagos Islands. Aside from having organisms under their own personal power, they own the land where they work. They have a lot of independence when dealing with issues related to relationships and sex. The children belong to them, and it is uncommon for these women to stay with the same man for more than 2 years. Kanogo Island is one of the largest and most inhabited islands of the Bijagos archipelago, which are located 70 nautical miles off the coast of Guinea-Bissau. Its contact with terra firma is minimal, and this has allowed for preserving one of the most peculiar forms of power of Africa.
My name is Julio Atiram, and I am the king of Kanogo Island. This is my home. We used to live on another island. This was a jungle where nobody lived. Our ancestors came here, fleeing from the queen who made their life impossible. That's what they say, and so I tell the same story. The first king who lived on the island was called Jasin. No one knows when this took place since nothing is written down here. History is told from era to era.
But the king does not work alone. He is supported by a cabinet of ministers which includes 2 distinguished figures, the Okinka, or prime minister, and a spokesperson who at the same time is in charge of guarding the sacred fetishes.
Being queen is a big responsibility, and I am too old for these things. The people come to you and tell you their problems, and you cannot tell them yours. From one day to the next, everyone will begin to treat me differently, and I don't want that to happen. I agree. Now whom can we tell that our back hurts, or that our children don't come to visit us anymore? I'm a widow, and there's a chance I'm chosen to replace the dead queen, but I talk with the Spirit every day so that this won't happen. I'm the king's wife. My mission consists in being at his side at all times in order to support him. I understand why none of the women want to be queen, but someone will have to be queen, and the Spirit will be the one to decide who she is.
I didn't want to be king either. I was poor and I was afraid. To reign, you have to be rich, have pastures and time. But my clan is the only one that can fulfill this position, and I was the oldest person. I couldn't say no. The king is very important for life in the villages. He makes decisions. He says no and he says yes. He's the one who decides if the youths can be initiated or whether they shouldn't. The queen controls the initiation of the women. In the last few years, the power of the king has declined. They want committees to rule. European culture is entering strong.
The presence of the spirits marks the path of daily life on Canogo Island. There is a main spirit, which they call Enre, and many uncountable secondary spirits. Every morning, the king and his assistants sacrifice a chicken.
The fetishes need blood, and we offer them chickens instead of goats or other animals since they are the least expensive. Only pork is prohibited. Chicken, goat, or cow, but not pork. They all have to go through me. Anyone who wishes to address the king or make a sacrifice has to talk with me beforehand. No one can speak to him directly. I also deliver and receive messages from other villages. I'm in charge of summarizing all the complaints and proposals of the assemblies for the king. And I'm left in charge when the king is not here. I know when the sacrifices have to be made, and I advise the king about the best times. There are spirits that model the acts of men and others for the women. I am in charge of the men.
Another of the daily activities of the king is to harvest palm wine from his sacred palm groves.
Look at those sticks. They're being wasted. They cut 10 branches when they need one. Tell the young ones not to do that when they go to the palm grove. Tell them to cut only the branches they're going to use.
During the 3 or 4 months that the election process lasts, the queens will visit every village on the island. There are half a dozen communities, which add up to a total of 2,500 inhabitants. The king accompanies them on these visits in order to listen to the problems that his people are worried about.
Our main problem is the hippopotamuses, which eat the rice when it is green. We are not allowed to kill them because they say they are going to become extinct. But if no solution is found for this problem, we will be the ones who disappear.
In the assembly meetings, the practical issues that worry the community are discussed, but above all, they dance and sing in order to go into states of semi-trance, or to be possessed by the spirit. The spirit only takes possession of the initiated women, a strict process of spiritual and social growth that lasts 2 years, and which is divided into different phases.
São mais fortes em suas culturas. Tem o que chamam de orebok.
They are the strongest women. They have what we call rebok. This occurs when a woman is initiated and the spirit enters her. She is no longer a normal woman. The spirit strengthens her and she overcomes the things of this world. They have a lot of strength here on the island. Even when the queen decides to kill someone, that person is killed. Coordinating with the women is not easy. They believe that they are always right. It is impossible to argue with them because in the end, they enforce what they want. When there was one queen, I had one problem. Now with 3 queens, I have 3 problems.